Well, hello everyone. I know the question that has been keeping you awake at night, making you sleepless and groggy the next day, difficult to deal with, highly stroppy in every regard because you can't figure out what to do regarding whether or not you should buy a Regency brand table made in China from Webstaurant store and shipped by FedEx, of which you have no choice how they send it. You may not opt out of FedEx as their delivery method. So let's get to that. What we have here is not the bottom end. They actually, if you can believe this, make tables cheaper than this one. This is a Regency brand. They stuck the label, shipping label, right over their brand, Regency. I don't know if they're trying to hide it, subliminal type thing or whatnot. But then we have it made in China down here. We kind of put that tag right over the made in. I don't know if there's anything going on there or if it's just random happenstance. But we see what we see when we got what we got. Here we see the condition of the box. The side's ripped open on the side. We got a piece of banding over here that's clearly loose. There's not a second one up here, maybe to use as a grip. Perhaps there was. We got a little notch here and a little notch here. I don't really know. But we're going to take a look at as FedEx delivered it. And remember, I called them. They will not. You can change your freight company if you have something big enough, a big piece of equipment. You can change your freight company, have a selection there. But as far as small packages, it's FedEx or nothing. Now here's a picture of the box. Again, this is unretouched, not being messed with. This is how it was received, how FedEx left it. There's that little piece of banding, little plastic banding goes around. There's that little rip on the side, pooching out there. Here's the table actually poking through. I just brought it inside the house, but you can see the whole bottom of the container is ripped open. Other side is right here. We can see it pooching through there, the top. And remember, the bottom had that little banding around it. This has no banding at top. You see it's busted out the top as well. Inside the box didn't fare any better. This is one of the sets of legs. This particular table had casters, and so it has two different legs. It has long legs for the little screw feet, leveling feet, and it has shorter legs that make up for the 6-inch load height on the casters. And you can see how rough this has been treated, handled in there somewhere that it totally tore the bottom end out of the package as the contents slid around. Again, I don't know. Maybe this happened between China and the USA. Maybe it happened at the warehouse with people there. Maybe it happened at, I don't know if it's a drop ship. Could have happened at Webstaurant's warehouse. May have happened through transit with FedEx. I don't know. I just know how they dropped it off. Now here's another picture of it. Do you see the number of holes and whatnot in here? This thing has had a bad life. Here's a picture of some internal damage. This is the bottom shelf. Now, the bottom shelf is made out of, on the better series, is made out of the low-grade stainless, the 400 series stainless, which will rust. It's a magnetic stainless. It's just not very good. It's better maybe than galvanized, zinc-plated galvanized stuff, but it's still awfully darn thin. You can see how thin it is because we've just about cut a hole through there in shipping. Getting it from where it was made after it was packed to my house, it almost cut a hole through that stainless steel. Now again, this is the stainless steel 400 series in the better grade of table that actually will rust. So yeah, there we are. And of course, these are not welded in. These are just crimp formed over a little zinc plated kind of thing here, which easily strips out. I will tell you that ahead of time. Here's another view of it. And again, you might say, well, you know, that's really not a big deal for kind of a work table, restaurant table that you're going to be banging around and beating up. Yeah, I want to beat it up. Okay, I don't want it to come pre-beaten up. I did not pay extra to have somebody destroy my equipment that I paid money for before I even get it. So yeah, I'm not real happy with that part of it. Let's see what else we got here in this series. All right, this is the other side of it. I don't know if it'll show. It depends on how well this whole processing from different cameras and going through the video software and then post-processing. But right there is that punch where that socket for that table leg just about came through the other side. So we ordered a replacement bottom shelf. Here is a picture of why it about punched through. You see we have these little channels, little hat channels, and these things are not welded. They're just punched in with friction force and then glued in place with some caulk. Yes, I'm telling you the truth there. And then these hat channels are just kind of caulked into place with a couple of weld studs and acorn nuts there. Not really what I would call very robust, but when that little table bottom shelf sat in here, these guys there's not even styrofoam in between them. They got the box that is allowed to run like a choo-choo train down a choo-choo track back and forth from one end to the other, but there's not styrofoam to keep that box from moving, and there wasn't anything to keep the two sides like a clamshell being slammed together. There's no edges on anywhere in this. It's just pasteboard around with the two table surfaces pooching on the outside, so they get easily damaged and bent. So here is our replacement. Because we don't want to be judgy. We don't want to say, well, you know, let's go all angry over the table could be a fluke. We pay good money for that table with the all stainless legs and then the casters and the options and all that kind of good jazz. 24 by 48, I think is what it was. Wasn't a huge table, wasn't particularly heavy. Got a bad damaged shelf. It's just a fluke. So we ordered the replacement. They did in fact send us one. Not angry about that, but you see what condition it came in. And again, I don't know where this happens. This is happening after it leaves China on the boat, in the port, down at the warehouse. Does Regency have a separate warehouse or drop ship for Webstaurant? Then I don't know who, if this is FedEx, but yeah, it arrived in this condition. And you can see we have a little band here and it's already ripped on the bottom. The fact that you can order a new bottom shelf should be a sign in my mind of what quality you're getting at a table. If they're able to ship out just a bottom shelf, what does that tell you about it? I don't know. Okay, here's another look at it. You can see that's been handled by the top edge. I guess people can't get a grip. It does have the little plastic band there where they could have grabbed that. If you like this content, please go to calldelltosell.com, find the tab that says on YouTube, click it, and it'll open up a page of QR codes. There you can use a smartphone to scan and get to the YouTube page, or you can just mouse over and click it on a PC. There you'll be able to subscribe to this little button over here and click the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you. Thank you. Did we have just a one-of-a-kind, one-off fluke one in a million shot of getting a beat-to-pieces table that we paid good money for? I don't know. We got the replacement ordered. Took 2 weeks. No offer of maybe a little compensation for the loss of time or aggravation. No refunded to the shipping. They did send the replacement part free. Took 2 weeks, but they didn't refund shipping. They didn't give a discount. They didn't say, okay, well, can you live with what you got? Maybe we'll take out 20% and you just keep it. We just save everybody the time and effort of waiting 2 weeks for you to get this replacement bottom shelf. No flexibility on that side, and we saw a really crappy received bottom shelf, which doesn't weigh that much, and you see it was beat all to pieces. So before I show you this video of a third chance at this point, it's a second table. I've bought other stuff from them, been very happy with the Webstaurant. Just this Regency stuff. Is this the way they're just done? You tell me. I'll let you develop a pattern based upon what I show you and judge whether or not you want to buy from either one of these two entities, because it will be linked together because they're selling the Regency product as a featured part of their line. So when I show you this next one, I want you to pay attention to the conditions received. Look at where the tape is. Do we have something wrinkled, folded, a hole punched through, and then taped on top of it? I want you to see if we're using an actual box capable of doing this particular table itself, or if it's just like somebody picked up garbage, literal garbage in a warehouse and slapped something around and rolled a couple of rolls of tape around it to make up for the fact that it has already holes in boxes. That's what we're going to look at.
Hello. I have not physically touched any part of it. And this is just typical of the condition of how they ship. Now, that never was put on there right. I don't know what they're doing. And you look through here, there rips right through there. Can you see that rip? There you go. And cut. Now they did band it, didn't do any good. And they got about 9 rolls of tape on the box. Looks like perhaps it's been damaged before. See how that's torn right there? Let me turn that camera. That whole edge is ripped up. And you can see that that's ripped up underneath the tape. See? See? See, look over here. Look at that. Ripped up underneath the tape, which means this thing was tore up before they ever shipped it out. That's what I'm thinking. Now, I haven't flipped it over because, like I said, I have not touched it just yet. I just want to show you the condition. I don't know, peoples. Look at that hole right there. Well, you bet there's a dent or something. I mean, the odds are there's a big dent or something up on the other side of it. Well, we'll flip it over and look at it.
And here's what we found inside the second table's box. It is a long table, but it's also the cheapest they make of the two. It's going to have galvanized parts, galvanized table legs, galvanized lower deck that gets painted or whatever. They're cheaper of the 2 series. 18 gauge top deck here, and you can see what that looks like. Didn't make it into production without being damaged and torn all to pieces. This is another end of it, more of the same typical crap. We have the box is free floating and can slide back and forth. I don't know if this is just detached from this side of it, but you can tell the tape as it came down here, how poorly it was taped on this end to begin with, because you see this area, this is not tight, so it had to be sloppy and loose on this end when it was taped originally. You can see that fold comes across here, and you can tell it's ripped out at the bottom. So these table legs they're just able to ice sled back and forth in the pasteboard box, and the box itself can move because there's no styrofoam. There's nothing to protect the edges of the table anywhere around here, and so there is nothing to keep anything that punches the outside cardboard from punching into the table itself. Here's another picture of it. You can see there's no styrofoam underneath there. There is a block here, but that was insufficient to keep this from sliding, as you can tell, because this is the other side of it. We saw the ones with the screw tips on that side. Here's the other side. It just punches right through the pasteboard and has been able to move this way because it's been dropped or something. You see, we'd have the table legs this way, but you can see all of them right there. There actually are 6 on this particular table. Another hole from the outside, just giving you an idea what it looks like. So what are the conclusion? The conclusion is make up your own mind. I don't know what to tell you. Now, we had one table, the first table. We had trouble identifying a table that they could offer because their website is, quite honestly, it's kind of a mess trying to filter through. It does that, what some websites do. If I type in specific 14 gauge 24 by 48 caster, I expect to only see those results in there. Instead, I get 18 gauge and different lengths and different sizes. It gets frustrating quickly because if you know the correct questions to ask, I asked a direct question, I want a direct answer. You got to dig through it, just really aggravating. And then when you get your product, quick to ship, but it's beat all to pieces. So we said, we don't want to be judgy. Let's do it a second time when we get that replacement shelf in. Took 2 weeks, no willingness to, nothing offered to kind of smooth over relation, which tells me if this were a one-time thing, that would probably come out. But if this is just the business as usual, sending out junk and then telling people tough nuts, why you wouldn't make an exception at that point. You wouldn't make an offering for free shipping or whatever at that point, because you'd be doing it all the time. The fact that there is a bottom shelf with this old, those perfectly sized box available tells me something, that maybe they're replacing quite a few of these things, which is a common mode failure. But we still don't want to be judgy on such a place, so we ordered a second table, and you just saw what it looks like. So I'll let you make your mind up if you want to buy a Regency brand work table made in China from Webstaurant store that's going to be shipped by FedEx. Why can I say that? Because when I asked him, I said, look, before the second table comes, is there anybody else that we can use? UPS, I do good with UPS where I live. That's not a problem. No. Webstaurant, you cannot use anything. You can use different freight companies like SIA or whoever you have there who might actually do freight, 18-wheel trucks. But if you want a common carrier such as UPS or USPS or DHL or whomever, nope. FedEx. You get your choice as long as your choice is FedEx. And this is the condition that they're doing it. It's just this arriving destroyed before you get it. So you make up your mind if you want to buy it. All right, so what's it mean? In my opinion, overall, it's probably not a bad product for what you pay for it if you could just get it intact without damage, without being torn all to pieces. It's poorly packed and poorly shipped. In my opinion, if you've ever unpacked a TV or anything of that nature, computer, monitor, something like that, most things, I just got a saw in the other day, they have little corners of styrofoam which go in the box to hold the contents, and even some styrofoam inside of the box to keep things from sliding around, so that if you punch a hole, bang up against another thing in the delivery truck on either side, any face of the pasteboard, that it doesn't directly hit the contents inside the box. These are just a box big enough to keep you from losing the parts. It provides, in my opinion, poor performance in protecting the content. It's just cheap. Buy it if you want to, but it's going to become one of a kind before you ever get it. That's my opinion. And I don't think the people at Webstaurant store actually wants to talk to human beings. They want it to be a web front only type of operation. And I think that's plenty plain. Although I have bought other stuff from them and been quite happy. I just would probably not buy any more tables from them.